Howdy, and welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. We continue French Week with a Revell kit of the SE-210 Caravelle. This is a 1961 kit released by Revell of Great Britain. It's kit number H184, and it's in 1/100 scale. So the Caravelle started out as a request from the Committee of Civil Material in France, requesting for a medium-range transport aircraft or commercial aircraft. They wanted something that could seat between 55 and 65 passengers, plus 100 kilograms of cargo, or 2,200 pounds. They wanted to handle routes up to 2,000 kilometers or 1,200 miles at a cruising speed of 600 kilometers an hour or 370 miles an hour. And the type and number of engines were not specified. There were 20 different designs received from the various different aircraft manufacturers in France, from all jet to turboprop to regular reciprocating engines. All manner of transports were being submitted, and it got narrowed down to two different ones. One from SNC ASO, that was the SO-60, that utilized two Rolls-Royce Avon engines and two Turbomeca Marboré auxiliary engines. So you had the Avons as the main power, with the auxiliary engines provided for takeoff. And then there was another one from SNC ASE, that was the X200 and 210, that was utilizing three Avon engines. Then after these designs had been submitted, Rolls-Royce upgraded the Avon engine to putting out 9,000 pounds of thrust, and so there was no need for the auxiliary engines or the third engine anymore. So they went back to the drawing board and revised their proposals, and the X210 ended up ultimately winning the design contest, and they did something kind of different in putting the engines on the rear of the aircraft. This is the first jet engine aircraft to utilize that for commercial use. So that freed up the wing, so you had a cleaner wing, and that also allowed for the wing and landing gear to set lower. That also helped with noise levels in the cabin by having the engines out in the back. And so on July 1952, those final submissions were submitted, and 2 months later is when the SE-210 was deemed to be the winner. On 6 July of 53, an order was placed for two prototypes and two static models to be tested for strength. The Sud-Est basically copied the nose section and cockpit area from the de Havilland comment. They actually licensed it from them, so that made a little bit quicker of a design process. They also adopted curved triangular windows down the side, so that made them smaller, but they had the same viewing amount looking in the downward direction. So that was something unique, and it carried those triangular windows throughout its entire production line. So the first flight was on 27 May of 1955. At this point now, they had the Rolls-Royce Avon RA-26 engines, which put out 10,000 pounds of thrust. And the second prototype flew on 6th of May of 56. So almost a year between the two prototypes, which is quite a long time. In 1956 as well, The first order came, that of course came from Air France, the national airline, and in 57 SAS made their order. And around that same time, there was a merger of a lot of different companies. It was very difficult for that many aircraft manufacturers to stay afloat, so there was a lot of mergers that happened. So SNCASE and SNCASO merged together along with a couple of other smaller firms and became SUD Aviation. The SE-210 designation was kept from SNCASE, and further aircraft after that merger, just went under the SUD designation. The airworthiness certificate was awarded on 2 April of 59, and the first paying passenger flight with SAS happened on 26 April 59. Within 4 years, a total of 172 aircraft were built. It was a very popular aircraft in Europe. There really weren't any other short-haul rivals at this time. Most of your other manufacturers were concentrating on your much larger range, larger passenger-carrying aircraft, like your 707, your DC-8s, your BAC 10s. Those were designed for the longer distance flights, and this was really the only game in town when it came to a short haul all jet aircraft. So the Caravelle had quite a bit of success early on. Eventually everyone else started producing short haul jets as well, and that kind of took up the market. Let's see, by 1963 there were 6 different variants, different fuselage lengths, passenger setup, engine setup, various different changes, but it was still the same basic frame, airframe. The number 3, the Caravelle 3, was the main bread and butter for their lineup. Altogether, a total of 282 were produced, including the 2 prototypes and then 280 production aircraft. So that's a little bit of a history on the Caravelle, and let's take a look at the kit. So we've got this camera wants to fall over here. Got this fantastic artwork on the cover here by Jack Lenwood, with this kind of purple and pink sky. We've got the Eiffel Tower being visible in the background, which I'm not quite sure you can actually see from. Don't know if this is Orly Airport or Charles de Gaulle, but either one you really can't see the Eiffel Tower from. Then we've got the Caravelle, and carrying over that kind of purple and pink color, a French jet passenger plane flown by SAS and Swiss Air. So you've got the SAS up here and then Swiss Air in the background. Mike Machot did a video on some of these and pointed out the fact that you got the tail of another SAS aircraft here, but where's the aircraft? You don't see it underneath there. So kind of an interesting thing. Jack, took a lot of liberty with the way he was doing things, but man, did his artwork pop and make you want to buy their kits. We've got also mentioning another exciting scale model by Revell with flight painting box top you can frame. I'm not sure what a flight painting is. 13.5-inch wingspan, 12.5 inches in length, wheels rotating, hinged loading ramp may be displayed raised or lowered, colorful authentic decals, and an airplane stand. So on the side here, we've got the pink and purple, blue you carried over, and images of some other Revell kits, B-29, Hustler, B-47, and Skyraider. On this side, same thing again, and we've got some ships, a couple of carriers, and looks like a transport ship or actually I think it's a float plane tender. And then over on here is where you've got the manufactured in Great Britain. Around this time in the early 60s, Revell Great Britain was creating a lot of the molds for Revell. They did a lot of their 72nd scale prop aircraft, World War I and World War II, and some of their airliners as well, and this is one of them. So real small here. You've got the address of Revell, Great Britain. On the end here, you've got your kit number, 184, and similar information here. And this side is identical. So take a look at the box. This is a printed on, straight onto the cardboard box, so it doesn't have quite the shininess of the slicks. And we have our instructions. So the instructions carry over a black and white image of the box art and showing the scale here, 1/100th. Then this is, the instructions are also printed in England with their address here. A little bit of history on the Caravelle. What I did find interesting in reading this, it was talking about that that SAS was buying all the aircraft, and then all the other companies were then leasing them from SAS. And it also mentioned that Douglas Aircraft was scheduled to produce the aircraft for the U.S. market. I don't know how accurate that is. I do know that United ended up flying some Caravelles, and I don't know if they were thinking that they were going to be licensed built by Douglas for their run, but did not find information on that. Maybe some of our viewers know a little bit more detail about that. And then we've got information about how to build your kit. And here's our first step, getting our fuselage together and our door. And here's the movable rear stairs. This is something unique to this aircraft. I think the 727 did this as well too, which allowed for people to deplane and load up without the need for air stairs. And so pointing out the fact that you don't make sure you don't glue that so you can open and close it. And the whole nose is one separate piece, which I think is interesting too. And here they're showing you to start putting decals on. So the stripes down the side are broken up into smaller pieces, making it a little easier to apply. And the next one here is the engines. Very simplified engines here with the engine pods here. And it also mentions in here that you can put the engines in the pod and leave the top part unglued. So that way you can open it up and display the engine, although there's really not much to look at except a tube. But they do have the decals split, so that way you can put it on both the top and bottom half of those nacelles to see them, which is some forethought. Backside here, upside down. Got the wings, fairly simple. And again, showing you to apply the decals as you're going along. And then you got the multi-part step 7, showing you how to get the landing gear all put together. So fairly complex landing gear here for this time period. And it's pop on here, and then you glue through on here. So this is better than the ones that you had to use a hot knife to melt the axles together. And then final assembly here, getting the final bits together, and you've got yourself a complete kit. So there you go with that. And here's our decal sheet, which is printed in England. And these are in really good shape. There is no yellowing happening on these at all. It might even be usable. So pretty nice. Now, supposedly, on the U.S. issues of this one, which I haven't seen, you could mail in to get the Swiss markings. So that's kind of a neat thing. It comes with the SAS, but probably for 25 cents or whatever, send it in and get yourself a different set of decals. And then let's look at the plastic. So it's molded in white, and we've got the windows are molded in, and we have some really fine scribed panel lining and riveting. That's nice. And we do have some sink marks on the bottom here for where the locator pins are at. A little bit of it on the top too. But really, really nicely molded. And here's the other half. There's our cabin door. Not sure why they molded that separate, since there's no interior or anything there. Looks like whoever had this kit already glued in some weight. I don't doubt that it came that way. But yeah, let's kind of see what our fit looks like, at least across the bottom. Pretty nice. We do have the gear doors molded closed. But not too bad of a fit. Yeah, definitely want to have some weight in there if you're building it. I doubt that's the way it came. So someone was anticipating building it. And we've got our wings. So here, we'll look at this one here. We got our top and bottom halves again. Engraved panel lining, engraved rivet detail. Nothing really for the wheel well. You have our fences and engraved lining for flaps and ailerons. Same thing with this wing. Really nice. Then we have one-piece tail. Does have some flash on it. Same thing again. Really nice engraved lines. Got a bit of flash on that. And here's our nose. So one piece for that. There are no clear pieces to make the windows. Not uncommon for airliners to be kind of done this way, especially in this time period. But you could swap that on the end of a Comet kit, or kit of a Comet. Then there's our wheels, and there's our turbine blades. And here are our engine pods. Same thing again, fine engraved lines, a few little sink marks. Same thing on this one. Yeah, they're matching up with where the locator pins are at, so that's a little annoying. A couple more of those. Here's our engines. You can see they're just tubes. Maybe the Avon engines were just tubes like that, but not much to it. And what else we got in here? And here's some of our gear doors. These have got some flash on them. And here's the part that would go for the universal swivel stand, those big globe bottom ones, which is not in here. So I'm not sure if this kit didn't have it. I mean, this is a tight fitting box. I just can't see how there'd be much room for that stand in here. So the box cover does mention stand, or someplace it did mention a stand, but there's not one included in here. Although that decal sheet does have the typical circle decal that would be for to go on the stand. So any of you have this kit, you could let us know if it did include a stand with your version of it. But there you have it. That is your Revell Caravelle. So this was, let's see. Oh, forgot. This particular one here. Here we go. So this particular one here is an actual aircraft. This is LNKLH that went to SAS. It was named Finn Viking. It was delivered on 13 April of 1959. It started life originally as a Caravelle 1 with the RA-29 Mark 522 engines with 10,500 pounds of thrust. Later in its service, it was upgraded to the Caravelle 3, which had the Mark 27 engines of 11,400 pounds of thrust. This particular aircraft was actually the third production aircraft off the line, and it entered service on 15 May of 1960. And it stayed its entire life with SAS and was retired in September of 1974 and went to a museum, and it has survived. So it was parked outside out in the back lot for quite a while, but a few years ago it was fully restored and can be seen at the museum in Oslo, I believe. So it is a real aircraft. So let me show you those pics real quick here. So this kit was issued a few times, not a lot, especially for Revell. So you had the original 1961 issue from Revell Great Britain and from Revell US. There was also an issue from Revell Marusan in Japan in 61 as well. In 64, there's a slight revision in the boxing, part of the Jet Horizon series from Revell. Revell US. The box number was changed to H241 for whatever reason. It's basically the same kit, same artwork, just slight revisions on it. So I'm not sure why they changed it to that. And the other issues after this revert back to the original kit number. 1970, Revell Keycoller, which is the Brazil affiliate for Revell, issued it. 71. There was a Revell Master Modelers Club version, and sometime in the 70s, Revell Lodella, which is Mexico, issued the kit as well, and all of them feature the same fantastic Lenwood box art, same basic design of the box. Didn't really change in the whole run until 2007, when Revell reissued the kit after a few decades. And that one did contain the Swissair markings as well as the SAS, but it was a different SAS aircraft. And the Swissair, I guess they're trying to make up for all the missing Swissair markings of the past, and they gave you 9 different aircraft for their Swissair markings. So pretty big bang for your buck if you get that 2007 issue for markings at least. So that's about it on this guy. If you've built one of these, tell us about it in the comments section. And if you got one sitting on your shelf, as always, take some pictures of it, send it in so we can share it with our viewers in our next viewer build video. And that is all for today. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more French Week. We still got a few days left and some more surprises coming. And thanks for watching, and have yourself a great rest of your day.